Hi, Aileen.
Never the right direction, no matter how hard I try. There we go.
Yeah, we're
Wait,
in
wait,
our
wait.
kitchens today.
No! Why do you
I'm
think that
straight so
is?
far away now.
I've got a stool.
Oh, nice. Smart. How are you? Kitchen looks great. Mine is still
Thank
messy
you.
from our little project that we did.
I feel like all of the mess I have made is still in the sink.
Yeah.
Haven't cleaned that up yet. It's been a long 2 days, dude. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Tired, very tired.
Awesome.
TGIF.
TGIF, baby. That's what really counts.
Hey, Tish.
Hi.
So, what are we doing today?
Today we are talking about Netflix's Nailed It, Season 4, which I have never watched any Nailed It before. Aileen, you were previously a fan of Nailed It, right?
I've been on it, and actually I think season 4 was my suggestion.
Yes, it was.
Because I thought it was a show that you would enjoy.
Yes, and you were correct. I am obsessed. I love it. I think it's so joyful. I think all the contestants are so sweet. I think the judges are hilarious. I'm a huge fan. You're buffering on my end, Aileen. Hooray!
Hooray! So what is Nailed It?
So Nailed It is a baking competition show where 3 contestants who are just home bakers, average folks, have to recreate professionally baked and decorated desserts. Cakes, cookies, donuts, all kinds of things. It's
Yay, Susie!
hilarious.
Susie, watch it just because of us.
Hooray! Susie, did you like it? Did anybody else watch Nailed It along with us this last week? And tell us what you thought.
So, and these professional things the professional things that they're baking, these aren't like a nice cupcake. These are like fancy things. These are like pro.
I'll throw up an example. Justin loves Nailed It. Yes, we're all big Nailed It fans now. I'm obsessed.
Yay!
So let's look at some examples from this season. So this first one is from the very first episode of the season, where the theme was literature. So the first round, they had to create Shakespearean cookies, and this will give you a good example of the baking skills that these folks have. Because as Katie says, love watching a baking show that's relatable to common folk bakers. Yes.
Absolutely.
Here is from the first episode. And I believe that the person who made this was, his name was Greg, and he had a catchphrase, which, do you remember his catchphrase, Aileen?
I don't.
Bursting.
Yes, it was bursting with flavor, bursting with color.
All right, here we go. Oh no, I'm covering his version.
So on the left is what they were supposed to make, and Olivia is modeling for you what it actually ended up looking like. So these are like professionally decorated things that you would spend a lot of money for in a bakery.
Yes. They had to do a wedding cake. There were donuts. I think my favorite challenge that they had to do was the donuts with little rubber duckies on them.
So let's break it down from the top.
Great.
Where do you see this show?
Where do you see the show?
Yeah.
www.netflix.com.
And is there a host?
There are 2 hosts. Comedian of Girl Code fame and stand-up comedy, Nicole Byer, who's absolutely hilarious, and her outfits on the show, incredible.
She is a fat girl inspiration for all of us, And there were multiple times after an episode that I was like, what was she wearing? I need that in my life. And she actually has a book coming out in the next month or so.
Can't wait to read it. Also, I love that her outfits match the challenge every week.
Yes.
So they did a 90s challenge, and she had long braids and like a velvet dress and some great shoes. They did a jungle challenge. She wore all cheetah print.
Yes.
It was fabulous. And then Jacques Torres is also a judge and host. I guess Nicole is really just the host, and Jacques is a judge.
And Jacques is a world-renowned, I'm going to be pretentious, chocolatier. Chocolatier. He has won the James Beard Foundation for Pastry Chef of the Year, which the James Beard Foundation is like the Oscars of restaurants and cooking and baking. So, like, they voted him the best pastry chef in the world one year. He owns stores. He's the Dean of Pastry Arts for the International Culinary Center. Like, Jacques is serious business when it comes to his baking and his chocolate making. Not so serious business on the show, though.
Yes. And he is a delight. I love, even though he is this incredible talent who has made a career in doing these things that the contestants are incapable of, he does not come across as mean or pretentious. He's able to laugh along with them. I love that he adores Nicole. He thinks she is so funny.
Yes. And I feel like, the whole premise of the show is they're setting these people up.
Right. Yes,
they're going to fail.
Set up to fail.
They're setting them up to fail. These are not professional bakers. In fact, these are people that are like renowned baking failures. And in their intro packages, they always show you like some of the things they've baked at home, and it's disastrous. It's like things we would bake at home.
Yes. Are they set up to fail, though? Because they do have this glorious pantry.
They do.
And all of the tools. And I like that they give them recipes, because on a typical baking show or a cooking competition show, folks have to come up with these recipes on their own.
So, I know that I personally could not make, bake, and decorate a cake in 45 minutes, which is what they usually have for the first challenge. So,
absolutely
set up to fail.
Yeah, that's true. The time limit really, makes it more difficult.
And then every episode they have a guest judge who is a pretty wide array of people and the kinds of people that guest judge the show.
Yeah, just in this season alone, we saw Adam Scott, we saw Gabby Douglas, we saw folks who are YouTubers who do baking on YouTube, actual famous bakers. It's
so let's talk about
very fun.
So let's talk about episode 1. Episode 1 was called Let's Get Lit. It was all about literature. Their first challenge, you guys saw the example. There were different Shakespearean characters' stained glass window cookies to make. And then the second challenge, they had to make like a pop-up book Moby Dick cake with like Ahab in the boat and a white whale, literally. I feel like that challenge was their white whale a lot.
That looked impossible. And I think this episode had one of my favorite failures, or really creative moves of the season. Greg, the same guy whose catchphrase is bursting. His Ahab was a grape on a stick.
Like
in his boat.
My favorite part about episode 1, I think, was the guest judge, who for this one was Matt Walsh.
A delight.
He was hysterical. He was really well-grounded and positive for these folks that are clearly struggling. And it was the timing was just serendipitous for me because I just started watching Veep.
Yes.
So to see him on Veep and then also see him in this completely different setting, being himself, was really, really fun.
Yeah.
Episode 2, the one with the 90s theme.
So fun. I love that Nailed It really dives into the themes of each show. So for this episode, they did like a 90s sitcom theme entrance to the show.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone was dressed kind of 90s themed. Very fun, very silly.
Um, I so Fortune Feimster was the comedian Fortune Feimster, an actress, was the guest judge on this. She was a lot of fun. I was a little freaked out, and this is one of the few shows that my partner and I actually watched together. When they're like, we're gonna make ice cream cake boom boxes, and here everybody, here's some liquid nitrogen, and I was like, you cannot give these people liquid nitrogen.
I know.
People are going to lose fingers.
That was
like I was talking to the TV during a baking show saying, don't give the people liquid nitrogen. They're not ready. They can't grease a pan properly.
Yeah, especially since a theme on Nailed It seems to be, I'm not gonna measure, I'm just gonna throw things in the bowl.
See what happens.
Yeah. Later in the season, they also have them light something on fire. So, really, they're pulling out all the stops.
One of my favorite guests, I think, of this season was on episode 2. That was Crystal. I remember she was in the middle of them. She had braids. She was just a delight.
From Florida?
Yes.
Yeah, she was like, I did not come all the way from Florida to lose. To be a loser.
She was there to win it, but she was also there to have fun. She could make fun of herself. She was clearly in on the joke and just there to have a really good time, and I loved her.
She was a delight. Was Cherry also in that episode?
Yes. No, she was in 4.
Cherry was one of my favorite contestants. She was just very sweet and hilarious.
She was. Episode 3, Indiana Fails and the Temple of Slop.
This was the one where they had to make the
the egg with the snack mix in it.
Yes. And that one had one of my other favorite contestants, Larry, the guy who brought the little dog statue.
Yes, Larry was adorable
and terrible. But again, someone who's just so sweet and fun. I think a reason why Nailed It is such a great watch is nobody's having a breakdown because they're stressed about it. Nobody's yelling at anybody. It's just goofy, and everyone's like, I'm coming in here to try something that I know I'm not great at, but I'm just going to have fun with it and do my best.
And none of these people are coming in with these huge expectations that they're going to make world-class pastry.
No.
Like, their expectations are set appropriately, and I don't know if that's the people that they're casting as contestants or if that's good production, but, like, they know what they're getting into, and they're all, like, they have the right demeanor for it. They're not about it and stuff.
Agreed.
Episode 4, Chariots of Fire. I was blown away when I saw that Gabby Douglas was the guest judge, Olympic gymnast Gabby Douglas.
I was thrilled to see her.
They
she
brought
was rocking some blonde hair. She looked excellent.
She did. She brought her medals. It was adorable. Do you have a picture of one of the competitions from that?
I think I'll probably block it again, but
you're in the way again. So their first competition, they were asked to make Olympic medal cookies. This one was the medal for surfing. You can see on the left. You cannot see the fail on the right because Olivia is on top of it.
Sorry.
But I'm sure Google can help you find the hot mess that medal was.
Yes. And
but Gabby,
I was going to say, I thought Gabby Douglas was one of the better guest judges because she was
a fan. Yes. And she was clearly such a fan of the show.
Yeah.
Like, she was jazzed to be there. She knew the format.
Yeah.
She knew the inside jokes. And it was like, an elite athlete is not the person I expect to see on a baking show. Yeah. So to see her in that element was spectacular.
Super fun. Speaking of inside jokes, Aileen, do you want to tell us about, I know one of your favorite parts of Nailed It.
Which one?
Yes!
So Nicole, the host, is a comedian. She's hysterical. Somewhere in the first season, she got a rapport with I think he's one of the assistant directors, and his name is Wes. And it just sort of turned into a recurring bit where she just yells, Wes, I need whatever. And then Wes, so it just kind of started the first season, and it's evolved as the seasons have gone on. Now in season 4, he's coming out in costume. He's definitely in on the joke, and Wes has kind of become his own personality and his own like bit of the show. And I look forward to seeing him every time.
Yeah.
Like, what's Wes gonna do this time?
I know. What's he gonna be wearing when he presents the trophy at the end?
Right.
Some goofy costume.
Wes.
Yeah.
Wes turns up with a chimichanga for Adam Scott in episode 6.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Speaking of episode 6, Howdy Failure. So they made donuts, which I was blown away. They made donuts with ducks on them. So not baking, frying, whole different skill set, I think. And then they had to make root beer flavored rodeo cakes.
Yes. I really liked this episode.
I did too.
Because it went so terribly.
Yes.
I think the contestant Jim, he was wearing like a Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah, I know Jim.
His donut was so terrible that Jacques and Nicole did not swallow it.
and no one told Adam that he didn't have to swallow the donut. Adam Scott, the guest judge, and he was very disappointed that he swallowed that donut that everyone else spit out.
And then for the second round, the contestant Chimmy used a tablespoon of root beer flavored extract instead of a teaspoon. And that was shocking to the palate.
Apparently that cake was inedible.
Yeah. So
a small bit of controversy on episode 6, as much controversy I think as you're going to have on a baking show that's delightful. So Jim, in the Hawaiian shirt you were just talking about, he went to stick his fondant onto his cake, and he licked it and stuck it on the cake.
That's right. I forgot.
And the judges were kind of appalled and kind of laughed it off. And I just saw an interview with Nicole where she said, you know what, I really wish we could have re-edited that scene and make it clear how very unacceptable and disgusting that was. She's like, especially now, you know, in pandemic times, like, that was not funny. It was not okay. I wish we hadn't handled it the way we had. I wish we could have re-edited it to show, like, just how unacceptable and unfair that was. We have to eat this, and he spit on it. Yeah.
That's fascinating.
So, yeah, kids, don't lick your fondant. That's disgusting.
Wow. I had no idea.
Yep.
Oh, Jim.
Oh, Jim. Episode 7, The Big Bake Theory, was our science episode, and there was a twist in this one.
Oh, yeah. The fire is the twist, right?
No, the twist is the fake. That was the gold medal one.
Yeah, that was a different episode. What was the twist?
The twist was that they made them bake with their children.
Kids, yes! I loved that.
I hated that.
Why?
Here we are. I felt like it really just messed with the format.
I liked it because the one guy had said, I'm here because my daughter nominated me. She emailed the show and got her dad on the show. And that one mother-son duo was so sweet. They worked together so well.
I loved them. I thought Seth was fantastic, but I just felt like adding the kids to the show. I feel like it's an adult show for adults. There's some innuendo. There's some borderline jokes, and I felt like putting the kids in the show changed the tenor of the show. Like, if you were gonna do like Nailed It Family, absolutely, but like I want my Nailed It Pure.
Okay.
That was just me. That's just me.
I thought it was cute. I thought it was funny. The one little girl just kept eating snacks. She didn't help her mom at all. So I thought it was charming. And
then episode 8, I have not watched because I was so excited about this. I was like, I need to save an episode to watch after we shoot the show.
Oh no.
So Olivia, episode 8 is all you.
Great. I watched it a week ago and I don't remember.
I believe it was weddings.
Oh yes. It was weddings and yes. they had the guest judge is like the most famous New York City wedding cake designer, and she her signature when she on all of her cakes is she wears these big black glasses.
Mm-hmm.
And so her signature, she recreates them in fondant or modeling chocolate and puts them with the cake. And one of the contestants, I do remember, ran out of time, and so she just took off her own glasses and put them with the
Put them
cake.
on the cake. I love that.
That was very silly, yeah. And her other signature, she's like the best at making flowers. So there have to be flowers all over this cake. Um, when you watch it, everyone go watch episode 8 because especially like the couple that's on the cake is hilarious. It's very cute. It's very good.
I am gonna eat some cake and watch it tonight. I'm excited.
What cake are you gonna eat?
Probably a Franken cake that I'll explain why I have a Franken cake in a couple of minutes.
Okay.
So overall, now that you've watched this and you loved it, and folks, I want to see in the comments if you loved it too, if you watched along with us. I know a couple of you already said that you did. Who do you think this show is for?
Well, I hadn't thought until you were just talking that it was more for adults. I feel like it's for everybody. I think it's really fun. I think it's positive, and I think any kind of innuendo jokes would go over the heads of a child watching. Um, yeah. I really think that anyone could enjoy this show.
I agree, and I agree with you about the positivity, and I like the message. Your kids love it. Awesome.
Love it. Yeah.
I like the inherent message that they don't say, but it's there, is it's okay to try something new and fail and not be perfect at it. Like, that's there all the time. Like, try new stuff. You're not going to get it right. If you're lucky, you've got a James Beard Pastry Chef of the Year to give you some tips, and maybe you learn something from it, but no one expects you to be perfect at everything that you do. And I think that's a great lesson that's kind of just, that underpins the whole show. And it's not done with malice. Like, they joke around with the contestants, and there have certainly been times when they've been caught off guard with how disastrous something is, and a judge just guffaws at a reveal. But it's never malicious, and it's not mean. It's in good fun, and they give them constructive feedback on how they could have done it better next time.
Yeah.
And unless there's been a few cases where they're like, this is not salvageable, in which case now they know that's not salvageable.
Exactly.
So we have a surprise for you guys.
We did our own Nailed It challenge.
So Olivia and I have spent the last 2 days in our free time baking. We asked one of our colleagues for some feedback on what we could do for a challenge. We decided to go with something Memorial Day themed. Mm-hmm. Olivia, do you have the picture of what we were endeavoring to create?
Yeah, it looks so much easier than it was. Okay.
It's a hamburger cake.
Tried to make this hamburger cake. Aileen, what was this like for you? So if you check back on our Instagram over the next few days, we both will have some behind the scenes videos of us creating these masterpieces. But Aileen, how did this go for you? How do you think you would have fared on the show?
I think I would have done okay on the show, just because I'm kind of able to time manage and keep my cool. Mm-hmm. I think when you guys watch the behind the scenes, you will learn, Olivia knows, some of you watching know, I do not morning well. I am not a morning person, and I was getting up before work early to bake or decorate or whatever. So like, you see me, no makeup, no hair, no coffee, no brain cells, trying to make this cake. So while my cakes are not epic, my process I feel like was, and I did not find this excessively challenging. I mean, I didn't make a masterpiece, but I felt like it was within my means to make something edible. How about you?
A little different for me. I completed my cake around midnight. And I did a terrible job. But, you know, I think that on the show, I would have done a little better because I'm good at following directions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm good under pressure, but if I were to start to get frustrated and just like really start winging it, then I think I could spiral quickly and totally go off the rails. I think for me, I found this challenging because I was not properly equipped. As you can see, this cake is fully round, and I don't have round baking pans.
Me neither.
So I kind of Frankensteined together some rectangular cakes that I cut, and then it kind of went downhill from there. It was a little more difficult to frost.
Well, you want to show us what you got?
I think you should show first because I really have a feeling yours is better.
Based on what you've told me, I think so. Okay, so ready?
I'm ready.
Nailed it!
Oh my gosh! Wait, bring it closer to the camera.
And one for Olivia.
Aileen, that's so good. No.
So I had never made buttercream. I have never worked with fondant, so there was a lot of new things going on here.
You made buttercream?
Yes. I made buttercream. I rolled fondant. Thank you, Maggie. Thanks, Katie. It's a little dry. I don't know how edible it is, but I was really like, it looks like a burger, right?
It does. I can't
was
believe
really proud of myself.
Aileen,
I made 4 colors of buttercream.
I made 4 colors of food coloring mixed into a can of frosting.
Yay!
Okay, also this, oh my gosh.
Did I win?
You won.
I can hear your roommates tittering.
Okay, also this has been sitting on, oh, you should be so proud. Good job,
Oh, fish.
This has been sitting on my counter since last night. Oh God, okay, here we go. Ready?
Drum roll.
Nailed it!
I love it. I love it.
Look at it jiggle.
Oh no. Why is it red on top?
Well, so
That's wild.
The frosting kind of melted down.
I see that.
So as you can see, this cake, it's like naked, right? They didn't frost it. But
Yes. Like mine.
since I
Oh my God.
it didn't look good. So I was like, I'll frost it. And then I tried to make bun-colored frosting, and orange was as close as I could get.
Remind me to never eat a burger that you have cooked.
Hey, I can cook a burger. It won't look like this. And then enjoy the back.
Oh, come on now.
A little behind the scenes. I only did the front.
So
Did we
if you
taste
guys,
them?
I have remnants of 2 different colors of cake that I have put into a pan and slapped the extra buttercream on.
Yeah. Oh,
And
well,
that's tasted fine.
I tried to turn my remnants into cake balls and
No luck.
burnt the chocolate coating and then just had to throw it all away.
Oh. So, like Olivia said, if you guys enjoyed our mini challenge, in the next couple of days we'll get our behind the scenes up on this channel so you can watch it. And yeah, I don't think we even need to take a vote. I feel like the winner is pretty clear.
Yeah, okay.
But A for effort. I had fun. Did you have fun doing it? I really had fun doing it.
I had fun, and then I was like, oh, this is not going to be good at all. And then it was a little less fun. But
and at the end of it, we've got cake, so.
That's true. Truly, everybody's a winner when cake is involved.
It's true. All right, so this was our fun week. Next week we are back to the learning with a side of fun. What are we talking about next week?
You say it.
So next week we are talking about real world.
Real world.
So we've decided to completely veer away from cooking for the time being. Don't worry, we're not going to have any surprises where we live together with strangers at the end of next episode.
Are we all kind of living in a real world right now?
Yeah. But it's been a big anniversary for the real world. It's been around forever. It's one of the OG shows.
Yeah.
Susie says, mine looks better, but yours looks truer to the show.
Hey, thanks, Susie.
All right.
I'll take that.
So Real World's one of the OG shows. It's about what happens when you take a bunch of strangers and you lock them in a house together and make them live together, and things start to get real. So we're going to talk about how that show has evolved. It's been 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been 30 years the Real World's been on. Lots of interesting social things happening on the Real World across that run. We're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about folks that came out of the Real World that you might not even know were on the Real World. And we're going to talk about that sort of, that reality format of contrived experiences where you take people, put them in a situation that they wouldn't normally be in, and then see what the result is. Is that a science experiment? We're going to be talking about that.
And how that has affected reality shows that have come after.
Yep. So we'll be back talking about that next Friday.
That's right.
Between now and then, on Tuesday, you want to hop over to the museum's Facebook page and watch our executive director, Susie Schultz, do her show, The Happy Half Hour. A surprise guest coming up this Tuesday at 5:30. You guys are going to want to check